All for coming, taking your time out to come and join us today. We're going to talk a little bit about unified threat management and what that's all about. But before we get into that, I'd just like to introduce ourselves. My name is David Everett with Nerds on Site. Born and raised here in the community, lived here my whole life, been in IT for over 20 years. Kind of joined Nerds on Site 6 years ago. Got tired of having a retail store, hiring employees, training them, having E&A credit union steal them out. No, I'm just kidding. But just the turnover of employees and all that. And I found Nerds on Site by accident. One of my former employees was kind of checking into them. And basically what we are is a network of independent contractors. So all of us are our own business. We all have different skill sets. We work together as a team, and this is worldwide. We're in 10 countries. Literally hundreds of us around the world. So that's kind of how we operate. We all share the umbrella of Nerds on Site, and we just leverage all of our skills to deliver whatever a client might need. With that said, introduce the rest of the guys that are here today. We've got John Lessick. John is going to be, he's been with us, 5 years now or more. He's going to be doing the bulk of the presenting today, and I'm just going to pick on him right off the bat because he is nervous as heck right now. I'm just going to tell you. John's a tech guy. He's never been forced to stand up and talk in front of people, so if he faints, somebody please catch him. And I love it when his face turns as red as his shirt. So I try to make that happen as much as possible. Anyway, we're very new at this presenting stuff. We're all kind of techie guys, and so bear with us. Dave Bourne just recently joined us. He's been going to school at SC4 here, getting his degree there, and so he's jumping in on board. And then Jason Quinn is not here today. I think he's in the class today. So there's 4 of us locally in town. We have another nerd over in, where is he, LA City? No, Lapeer, I'm sorry. So there's actually 5 of us in the area. Basically, our company kind of started in Canada. A gentleman named John Harbranko right across the border in Forest, Ontario. A couple guys that were working in the future shops over there, that's like our Best Buy here, started this company years ago with the idea of, everybody brought their computer into the store to get fixed, and let's go out to the client, and that's where the whole Nerds on Site kind of came from. Won't bore you with too much more of that, but we're basically, just so you know, here and can handle pretty much anything to do with IT by leveraging our partners around the world. So we've kind of morphed over the years into what we call a managed services company, where our niche is just to be the IT department for companies. More and more companies are realizing they really don't need the on-staff IT guy that they pay 40 hours a week to sit there and try to look busy. We kind of take that off their plate. We manage their servers, their network, their security, workstations, all that for a flat monthly fee, and become their IT department. So the advantage to most businesses is they don't have to pay the benefits and the sick days and all that, and we've got people around the world 24/7 looking out, monitoring their network and making sure things are running. So it's very much a preventive maintenance approach that we take. This topic today, Unified Threat Management, is all about that. I'm just going to ask real quick because I'm curious how many people know what Unified Threat Management is, have heard of it. Anybody? Okay. Tell me, what is it? I'll put you right on the spot.
It's basically a bulk of one individual appliance that can do a whole set of things. Intrusion detection, firewall, VPN, web filtering, virus, antivirus even.
John, you just want to let him get up here and do this? So that's kind of what it's all about today. I'm going to have you kind of go around the room. If you would start here, just introduce yourselves so everybody knows who we are, where you're from, if you would. Start us off.
Jim Hollenbeck, Laurie and I are Blue Moon Abatement here in town. Joe Gazarovski, E&A credit union.
Jane Lyman, the legal field.
And Janine next to him, where'd she go?
I'm still here.
Oh. Jeff?
I switched seats over here because you pick out at some point when I get the quick
All right.
buzz from the rest of it. Actually, I hope I get that buzz because that means we're busy.
Good. Jeff owns the Vintage Tavern. If you haven't been in there, you owe it to yourself to go in there and enjoy that. Not just the food, the atmosphere, everything's awesome. So he's put his life goal, passion, and it shows. So good job.
Jeremy Mauer, DNA Credit Union.
Okay.
Jeff Bucket, DNA Credit Union.
All right. And I don't know if we got a couple more that were supposed to be here, but we're going to go ahead without them. So I've introduced you to our team here. I'm going to let John, leave it there, let him take over. John's kind of our expert at UTMs, and basically when I need to know something technical, John's the guy I call on because I'm a sales nerd, and he's a tech nerd. So
yeah, so this is not my forte, so.
all right, take it over, John. I won't make you nervous anymore. I'll get out of your way. You want to hit that light?
I'm a small business. No one's going to target me and hack my network. This is one of the biggest objections we get when we're talking to small business. Small business is about network security. See, I'm stuttering already. So, in fact, 56% of small businesses surveyed by the Small Business Technology Institute had at least one security incident in the previous 12 months. More and more, instead of going after the big boys, cyber criminals are attacking small businesses whose systems are often more vulnerable than those of the bigger guys with their big, expensive security infrastructures. So, the misconception is that most security breaches come from targeted attacks, but the opposite is true. Most email-based threats are... Okay, screwed that up already. Most attacks opposite are true. Most email threats are untargeted. The attacker casts a wide net and then waits for a wanderer by to get snagged and get snagged. Given the attackers focus on untargeted attacks, small business suffers, wanders by get snagged. A greater risk, and enterprise. Yeah, counterpunch with expensive security IT. Additional hackers continue to change their techniques and adapt to recent improvements in network security. So small businesses face an ever-evolving set of external threats: spam, farming, phishing, viruses, adware, rootkits. The list goes on and on. Companies also face unintentional threats from the inside, as employees often engage in high-risk network security behavior without even knowing it. One of the most basic things that a company should have is an acceptable use policy. What is it? It's a formal document stating what employees should be able to do on their network, on their computers. You know, most companies have that with other equipment, trucks, buses, whatever, how they're supposed to be able to use that stuff. It can be as simple or as comprehensive if you want. But it should basically have a general statement of intent, what specific activities they're able to do on the computers, who can do what and when it's allowed, and it should have your enforcement, which would, you know, saying anybody who violates the policy could be terminated, you know, as far as that far. Now, your typical scenario is most small businesses have a router in place, which actually does block simple threats of intrusion. Pretty much all they really do. You know, they may do your DHCP, you know, assign IP addresses, but pretty much for security, that's basically it. They don't do much more than that. Your UTM sits in between your the internet and your network. You can think of it as a traffic cop for your network. I mean, he sits there and blocks intrusions, viruses, spyware, spam, attacks. Does a number of other different things also. Some of them can do your Windows domain. Some can do all kinds of, you know, VPN. What's inside of it? Antivirus, anti-spyware. Intrusion prevention, intrusion detection. content filtering, anti-spam service, anti-phishing, and bandwidth and quality of service, QoS. 5 ways your best employees can compromise your network. Suspicious emails. Phishing scams and emails fraud can be more sophisticated than they seem and are ubiquitous. Security issues that are at best annoy and at worst present a real threat to security data. Phishers, spammers use tricky emails or URLs to get your employees to click on them, like these ones here are some examples. VVELSFargo.com and Disney World with the 1 instead of the L. That they click on that, it takes them to a website that will actually download threats on your computer and could also even change your host file. Checking personal webmail on company time. If a company has its own web server or email server, it's going through there. It's more than likely set up with antivirus and anti-spam features built right into it. So you're getting that. Now when somebody checks their own email and goes to a website, say Hotmail, Gmail, something like that, it's not going through any type of antivirus or spyware or spam filter. It's coming directly to the computer that they're on. And it's going to cause, they could end up causing all kinds of problems inside your network because it's bypassing any type of security. Unproductive email. Surfing. The average employee worker admits to wasting nearly an hour a day outside of lunch or break surfing the internet doing personal things, which if you look on this, you got 4 employees at an hour a day at $15 an hour. They're wasting $60 a day. That's $1,200 a month. $14,400. They're not working. You're paying them to surf the internet, and yeah. Downloading free stuff. Sure, it's free and colorful. Yes. And it is tempting to download, but the truth is spyware often comes hidden in free screensavers, videos, and other tempting items to download. Free programs, even a free spyware removal tool can have spyware and malware built right into it. When you download files and applications from unknown sources, you run the risk of getting unwanted extras, which brings me to consuming bandwidth. Downloading images, swapping music files, streaming video consumes bandwidth. Peer-to-peer applications are notorious bad because they open up multiple connections to where they're trying to download from, and they just suck up all your bandwidth. Yeah. Unless you have one of these in place.
Stream with your computer, I do it every day.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. They took up all your bandwidth, so the people that are working isn't able to work because they've got it slows down your network so much that people are frustrated and they're very unhappy. Bottom line is that even the most well-meaning employee can unintentionally and unknowingly compromise the network by opening a wrong email, surfing the wrong website, and downloading the wrong screensaver. With all the security threats out there, even the most mundane internet task becomes a potential threat. Organizations need to protect their employees from internet traps and provide multiple levels of defense, including gateway security, desktop security, patch management training, unacceptable use policy, monitoring, backup just in case. Nothing's 100%, so something's going to get through eventually. But you got these devices do block most of it. But like I said, nothing's 100%, so at some point it could happen. So you want to have the layered approach that best serves, secures today's small and medium-sized networks from themselves. And here you got a picture of this guy sifting through spam. She's updating her Facebook profile, checking the weather online, and downloading spyware. Because most of your weather sites have all those ads on it. Those ads are coming from a third-party site, not coming from the Weather Channel or wherever, and they could be compromised. Even actual legit site could have been hacked and had software put in it where you go to it, it downloads, and it compromises your computer. So you got somebody down there downloading music. That guy was actually working though. So we came in with the camera, in the corner there. Thanks. Any questions? I went through that kind of fast. So
We were doing a project out in the field, and I got a phone call about 7:30 in the morning. I said, Jim, what are you doing in Spain? How much money do you need? Apparently, I got hacked. Went to everybody on my contact list. And I'm a sole proprietor, so everything personal is my business first.
right.
And it destroyed. Apparently, one person answered it and just wiped out. I'm still trying to get them back. I
Right.
November of last year.
Yep. There's a few, shouldn't really mention any names, but there's a couple of email providers out there that they get hacked about at least 2 times a year, and they steal usernames, passwords. They download all your contacts. They download all that, and they'll set up fake accounts somewhere else and actually sending out the stuff under your name. That's, the best way to go is with Gmail. I haven't not heard about them getting hacked. I mean, it's probably possible, but I haven't heard that they've gotten hacked. Trying to figure out who else. That's pretty much really it that I've heard that hasn't been hacked.
I'll just say if you're using Yahoo, please
Yeah.
change to something else. I mean, it's
That's
6 months. It's been weekly.
Yeah.
Numerous clients, just every week somebody's account.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what they're doing or what they're not doing. Not doing a very good job.
A lot of times they'll get your password, they'll log into your account and change your password on you. You can't get into it at all.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it just takes 10 seconds to get it back. Anymore, they don't even ask security questions. Because I get a thing on there, so your Facebook changed, password's been changed, your Yahoo's been changed. So I don't change it.
Yeah.
I barely remember it. I keep it.
It's always best to have a good comprehensive password where you get capital letters, small characters, numbers, and a special character. It makes it really hard. Because a lot of times they've got a program that just sits there and beats on it with changing out the password constantly until they get in. So.
Yeah, real quickly, I'll kind of summarize what we're talking about here. And there's numerous different brands, different companies that make these devices. There's free stuff, there's paid stuff. I've been using a UTM at home even for several, 4 or 5 years. And basically what we're talking about is it's a device. It can be just a small little server, a little computer that sits between your router and your network. It's, we call it the traffic cop. It's just filtering everything coming through, checking all these different things to make sure as much as possible stuff coming in is clean and stuff going back out is clean, because you don't want your network infecting the rest of the world. So I guess in the simplest terms, like you say, it's a device that just kind of tries to do it all. We still recommend having good antivirus software on the PCs and on the server and all those things. It's just a multiple prone approach that, everything we can throw at it to keep things running, we do is better than the let it break and try to fix it later thing. One of the questions we ask, the reason I ask you guys, anybody heard of UTMs, is, if you've got your own IT guy or you've got a company that you use and no one's told you about this, by now. I mean, these things have been out there literally for years, and if you've never heard of it, there's probably good reasons for that. Either your IT company that you deal with is a break-fix type company. They make their money off your problems. So they probably aren't going to tell you about this kind of stuff because, you know, they charge you when you come out and you have an issue that they need to take care of. Our last session we did last month was on managed services and why that is a better approach, we think, to the preventive maintenance approach where you have a true partner trying to make sure that these things don't happen. And in that scenario, we're a partner. We make a flat rate fee. We don't get paid anymore. We make the most money when you have no problems. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure things run smooth and you don't have issues. So you ask yourself that. You either got, you know, an in-house IT guy that's, you know, job security, or you've got an outside company that's making money off your pain. And honestly, I did that for years. That was the business model, and I hated that. So that's probably, if you haven't heard of a UTM and what it is, it could maybe help explain why. Our mission is to, you know, try to educate people and get the information out there of everything you can do to prevent stuff from happening. These things are just tools. They need to be useful tools and have, you know, productive employees and happy employees. He alluded to that, the one screen where how much does it cost if someone's wasting time. Well, every company has people that waste time. Nobody does it maliciously. Nobody's saying, you know, Johnny over there is trying to, you know, steal from you because he's out buying Pistons tickets when he should be working. But they do it because they can. And there's ways to eliminate that and let them know in a professional way that that's unacceptable. And with a device like this, you can police it whatever way you want. You can, you know, inform them that we're watching, we're monitoring that, and police yourself. And then if it doesn't happen, we can crank it down and just say, sorry, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. Same thing with like Facebook, you know, any of these things you can really adjust. Do you want the employees to be able to do it? We can say block Facebook or allow it during lunchtime and that's all, or whatever. So there's a lot of granular tweaking you can do with a device like this that you can't without it. So without too much tech talk, any questions that we can answer for you? We've dealt with numerous different companies that provide these products, so we can kind of help you with what we think is the best thing. But as John alluded to before, nothing's perfect, nothing. You know, I can't stand up here and guarantee if you put one of these in, you're never going to have issues. So that's why we've asked Jane Lehman to come in. She's an expert at identity theft. One of the things this device is trying to do is prevent identity theft. So by not allowing spam and phishing in a lot of these ways that people get in and steal your identity. But she has some great information for us as to other ways that can happen, even with a device like this. So we're going to, at this point, turn it over to Jane.
Got a quick comment?
Yeah, certainly.
One of the advantages of this type of device that isn't traditional in your regular antivirus programs and things like that is those devices get updated constantly. So they can get updated 3 times in 15 minutes. And any threats or any new viruses and things like that, they catch them. They got a better chance of catching the newer threats than the typical having an antivirus system that, you know, pushes it to the PCs and things like that. Those things can take up to a day to push out the new system. So it does a much better job protecting against new threats than the traditional antivirus system does.
Yeah, great point. Thanks for that. And even if you have good antivirus on your machine and you schedule it to go up and update, you know, like you say, this is something in the background doing it at a much more thorough level. We get people all the time saying, well, geez, I'm just going to use the free version of whatever antivirus. And one of the things that I discovered years ago, I used to be a dealer for AVG, which at the time was considered one of the top. And they had a free version, and the free version is just so you can download it and try the software and see if you like the way it works. But the free version never logs into the server that's getting the updates. That machine, that server got updated once a week. I never knew that, so I thought, yeah, go ahead and pull the free version. It's the same as the paid version. Well, the paid version, you're getting updates 4 or 5 times a day. The free version, you're not. So you're really not protected. The free versions are meant to try the software. So just be aware of that. You know, people are always saying, oh, I can save money. This is, you know, throw this on here for free. Go ahead, Jane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Jane Lehman. I am with Legal Shield.
You want to play it off?
Very much. Yeah, it probably looks better with the light off. Legal Shield, together with Kroll, the world's largest risk management company, I'll jump right to what they do. We have one of the most comprehensive identity theft protection available. And I'd like to just show you what exactly we're talking about when we're talking about identity theft. Because, you know, okay, your computer's been compromised. What does that mean? What are they doing? Some of them are just doing it for fun, you know, that they like complicating people's lives. Other people are looking for information. Your credit card number, obviously. A lot of people shop online. Other information. For example, I've got my children's passports that I've scanned in case anything would happen to them. Well, that's on my computer, whether I want it or not. But that's information that somebody gets. That's pretty important information. Social security numbers, driver's license, everything's beyond there. But to go into it, let's start off by. Why isn't it working? Am I going to have to click to go?
Call her Sensei.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, let's start off with the definition of identity theft. Okay, so when somebody uses any of your information without your knowledge, okay, to commit fraud or other crimes, and that's the important part here. Because we've all, when we think of identity theft, we usually think of financial, correct? That's what we're all worried about. That's the most important slide you're going to see today. They've already mentioned that, but you cannot prevent it. The government can't prevent it. Nobody can prevent identity theft. And we're going to go into why. So, you know, I've been reading a whole lot of people making comments on this most, what was the most recent, just the other day, they were complaining about the government not doing anything. The two presidents just had their email accounts hacked. We can't even take care of that. What do you think they're going to be able to do for us, right? This is why it can't be prevented. This is where your information is. From the minute you're born, you've got medical records, your social security number, you've got school records, phone records, driving records. Even as far as organizations that you're a part of, you've given information all over the place. There's no way that any one entity can protect your ID because it's already out there. People who are afraid of, I know one woman in particular, she will absolutely would never bank online. She doesn't even own a credit card, and she's completely sure that nothing will ever happen to her. And it's really hard to explain to her that has nothing to do with it because your information is already there. All it takes is one employee at the Secretary of State. They stick a little CD in here, whack, there they've got all this information on people, and there they go. They sell that off. People are trying to make money any way they can nowadays. So that's why they're talking about also being careful at work that you're doing. This is just some real quick information, what's going on out there. 31,000 victims per day. It takes up to 600 hours to take care of identity theft. And it has been the #1 crime for the past 12 years. It's the #1 complaint to the FTC. And it's not going away. It's getting worse. There are 5 major areas of identity theft. And again, that's what we had already talked about. The financial, we all know about that. Financial identity theft, I actually call it the fraud. That's what we know the best. It's the most common type. It begins with when you're at, an address change, new accounts. And this is what we look for in our company is when you're being monitored for a new address change, a new line of credit opened up. That's the things that are interesting. That's where it could very, very well be an identity thief that's doing this. This is where you want to go, and it's the only place you want to go, is annualcreditreport.com. You have the ability to go on there, and from all 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, you can get your credit report. This is information that I just learned the other day that's pretty interesting. You've all heard of freecreditreport.com. It's owned by Experian. Hello, they're making money. These bureaus are financially driven, and so they've set up their own companies. TransUnion owns TrueCredit.com. And Equifax, I forgot the one that I couldn't find it the other day. I think it might even be Identity Card. But anyway, they're all trying to make money as well. Don't go there. Go to annualcreditreport.com. That is what the government has given us to look up our credit. ID theft is more than financial. These are 3 questions. They're pretty brutal. But if you're a school teacher or if you work with children on a sports team or in a church, that first question could be deadly. I mean, we don't want to think of it, but it can happen. And then I'm going to explain some more about all 3 of these questions. It happens. But those are things that your financial institution, your bank, credit card company, they don't deal even with this stuff. It's not some, or whatever you've seen on television and you think you're protected. They can't do this. It's not what they do. Driver's license identity begins usually when someone can't get a license, so they're going to use someone else's. They steal somebody else's license, okay? It's a very common trait. A woman was pulled over, and this was just a couple of years ago. She had 15 driver's licenses in her purse. You know, the police asked her, let me see your license. She went to get it, and her purse fell over, and boom, all these licenses fell out. Must have made his day. But she was going around Michigan cashing bad checks. So, yeah, she has, you know, her pictures on all of them. It could be all of her identities. I mean, she was doing it for years. Social Security. This is where they can do all kinds of stuff. This is where people go out. Obviously, we all know about the illegal immigrants getting jobs with that. Well, it goes a whole lot more than just illegal immigrants. Right here in Port Huron, I had a woman come up to me at Birchwood Mall during the Women's Expo, and she told me her 2-year-old bought a BMW in New York. They had gone to get him a savings account and found out that the background check showed he had an open line of credit. And she was actually excited about it. She said, but the good news is that his credit's good. The guy's paying for it. I said, that's not good, because by the time he's 18, that information could have been sold over and over and over. That kid could be getting jobs. When he turns 18, he's going to have a mess with the IRS. And then a friend of mine in Shelby Township, he's a corporate GM. He got a call from the IRS. Well, he got a bill from the IRS for $30,000. He thought he was going to be going on vacation. Instead, they said he had owned a lawn care service in Alabama. He said, wait a minute, I'm corporate GM. Why would I be mowing lawns in Alabama? They said, we don't care. Pay us and you can go after the guy. And you know what they said then? He said, where do I find the guy? And they said, Pickle Los Montetas. So he was on his own. Took him over 3 years to take care of it, because he didn't know about our services, but it didn't have to be like that. He did it on his own. And there's medical. This is the fastest growing area of identity theft. This is where people go in and use your information to have a procedure performed. This can be deadly, especially if you've got the wrong blood type and it says that you need medications that you don't need. And then there's the woman in Pennsylvania who had 4 children under the age of 10. She got a call from the local hospital and they said, your newborn tested positive for drugs. She said, that's great, I didn't have a baby. They said to her, don't give us that. And the next day they showed up on her doorstep with social services to come remove her children from the home. She got that taken care of. That must have been just heart-wrenching as it was. But 6 weeks later, she started getting bills for the birth. So she had to go through that whole mess again. And this woman in her interview, she says that what scares her most now is that years down the road, she'll be taken to the hospital for who knows what, an accident, unconscious, and her records will be all messed up. Like I just said, wrong blood type, the whole bit. You just don't know what's going to happen. And people are doing it because they can't afford medical procedures. Okay, that was just one case. You can't see her very well. This is where pieces of information were taken together, a driver's license and whatnot. This woman is a school teacher. She went to get her driver's license renewed and found out that there were 8 bench warrants out for her arrest in prostitution. Now, she's got felonies on her record. They know she's not her, but they have to fire her because it's on her record. And until that's cleared up, the school can't keep her. Then the rumors got out. She ended up leaving the state because people didn't want their kids in her class, even if she had a job. What a mess. It can ruin people's lives, and it really is. So, again, it can't be prevented. Now, everybody, I mean, we've all heard it enough. Keep track of what you're doing with your information. The data collectors that are, it's all over the place. And within the workplace, that's where most identities are stolen. And it may not always be intentional, like they said. It's not things that it's not that in every workplace there's somebody who's going out for this information, but if we go into companies a lot of times, and they'll say, well, we're locked down here, we're safe. And you'll be looking on their desk and go, isn't that a social security number there on that piece of paper? They're not even aware of what they've got laying out. And it's very, very important. Keep papers upside down. You need to look at them, turn them back over. Resolution services are out there. You hear about them a lot. What they basically do is they send you a little booklet. It's going to help you take care of it. It's kind of like the fire department sending you a booklet to tell you how to put the fire out in your house. Yeah, not very effective. Restoration services. one of the companies on TV was actually sued for $12 million by the FTC for false advertising. And they're still on TV, and they have very crafty ads, and all they do is monitor your identity. Anybody want to name that company? I'm not supposed to. Thank you. I should do that.
Which
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, and the owner of he's actually been, he's had his identity stolen about 15 times now. But it's one of the biggest companies out there. They are making millions. And of course, that's why they can afford to put these $1 million ads on TV as well, right? So it just keeps the whole thing going. And really, if you read the fine print, they claim that they're going to, first of all, give you $1 million, and they're going to restore your identity. That is only if it is any fault of theirs. So it's very, very important. You know what? If you're going to get even one of these services, have an attorney look over what it is you're actually buying. That's something else, of course. I'm from Legal Shield. I can't help but say it. Because when these things happen, do you think that that school teacher didn't need an attorney? If you're pulled over, there was a gentleman at Beaumont Hospital leaving work. He ran a stop sign. He got pulled over. He should have. And the policeman came back after looking at his information and said, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to ask you to step out of the car." There were bench warrants out for his arrest. And it wasn't him, but he spent the weekend in jail rather than going home until they could get it all straightened out. And that's what happens when people use your identity. So it's very, very important to watch what you're doing. This is what experts advise us to do. Have the monitoring. That's all that you see on TV. They monitor. Having access to a qualified attorney in the event that there are things like this going on. You want to know who to talk to, or at least you can call your the attorney general in your state if there's issues that you're not sure of. Recently, Sam Bernstein, one of his sons down in Detroit, had his identity stolen. It was like last year. And he was, the news article, he was upset that the FBI didn't help. But that's not what the FBI does. They can't take care of every one of our identities. It's not even their job. So that showed us right there. Here you have qualified attorneys. They don't even know what to do when their identity's stolen. They are lost. And so don't look to the government or any place. You're going to have to do a lot of it yourself, or come see me. Again, we work with Kroll. Kroll is the largest risk management company in the world. They were called in by Kuwait to find Saddam Hussein's hidden financials. They were hired by NASA to secure everything that comes in to NASA, all of the secret stuff. And they were also hired by the U.S. government to help sort out Enron. That was a big one right there. So anyway, Kroll is the one company that will go in, and you sign over a limited power of attorney, and they will actually restore your identity for you. That's me. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment of like examples, real world examples. We had a client a couple years ago with Nurse on Site, not here local, but in Canada. But the guy just did a lot of business online, did everything online. Every day was going through $5,000 to $10,000 in connections online. And back when his bank said, okay, we're beefing up our security, you need 2 or 3 factor authentication, just your username and password's no longer good enough, he didn't do it. And they gave him a little grace period, trying to get everybody up to speed doing this. He just never set that out. In that 1 month, someone hacked his account, got in, started real small, just a couple dollars at a time. Okay, nobody noticed. Now $100 at a time, nobody noticed. Next thing you know, it's thousands of dollars. And over a 1 month period, they stole $30,000 from this guy without him knowing it, him checking his account every day and doing these transactions. So, number one, he was blown away that that could have happened under his nose while he's in there every day. But number two, he was fortunate that the credit card company or his bank ate that for him, and he didn't go out of business. But I guess the lesson there is, number one, everybody hates security. It's a pain in the neck. I can't even log into our website without username, password. We got these fingerprint things now that create a new password every time. It's a pain in the neck, but it's for your own protection. So
Yeah, it's just like getting into your own house. You have that locked up too. And as far as businesses go, there is no real, there's not a company out there that can say, we protect your business. If business owners aren't paying attention to what's going through, so then the people come in and they'll put like that 2-cent charge. Just check, is it going to go through? And when it does, that's when they can start going in and doing more and more. And if they find out it's a business owner that's really not following his accounts because he's trying to do it all by himself, it becomes a very large problem. And it can ruin businesses.
Here's a backward plug for E&A credit union. They're a pain in my neck because they have 4-factor authentication. You got a username, a password,
That's
you
where you
got
wanna
the
go.
picture, you got the whatever. There's a security question. There's 4 different things you got to do before you can get into your account. But you know what? That's what it takes to
If that's what it
keep
takes,
my
you know, your
account safe. and
chances are
I'm
better.
okay with it, so.
Yeah. So anyway, what a happy theme, huh?
Yeah. If we haven't thoroughly depressed you yet, let's.
Yeah, what else can we do?
If there are any questions, go ahead and shoot. That's what we're here for. So.
Yeah, thank you all for coming.
So any questions or comments? Anything you guys have tons of experience? Anything we didn't cover that you think they should know?
Just wonder what kind of gear do you have?
Well, I said used it all. One of the things with Nerds on Site, we have partnerships with a lot of different vendors, but we're agnostic when it comes to that. We don't force people to use one or the other. So we've used Cisco, we've used the Staro, we've used Untangle. We have our own now that we do that's Linux-based operating system kind of thing. So we've tried them all, and it always goes back to which company gives us the best support, as long as the products kind of do the same thing. So I loved Untangle for years. Used Untangle, was a great product. Their company kind of went down with as far as sales and support, and it's like, okay, if I can't get support, how am I supposed to give it to my customer? So right now, we use ClearOS as one of the ones that we're using for UTM, which seems to do a pretty good job. And one of the other reasons is it can also be a server, and it makes for a pretty nice replacement for Windows Small Business Server. So a company can put in one device, it can actually be their file server and their security. But there's tons of different ways of doing that. So what have you got experience with, or what do you like?
We're looking at a Cisco.
Okay.
I'm looking at a Cisco product right now. So most of our stuff is hosted actually by a third company, but we do have a wireless network that we're trying to protect. So we came here just to get a little bit more information, see what you guys had to say.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just trying to find something to put in.
Well, I will say our guy who's our expert at the ClearOS box is also our Cisco expert. And I'm just going off what he tells me, what should I do? Right. He likes the ClearOS better, so I don't know. I'm a sales guy. I don't know. I rely on his.
Cisco, you're paying for the name.
Yeah, they're very hard to configure, and you got to take lots of certification classes and stuff for every product. So, but they're definitely good. They've been the Cadillac for years out there. So, but
I love the Untangle device, but like I said, the support just went. And so I've gotten to know ClearOS and our own NerdOS with our.
So is that mostly like
I
software?
really like it. Pardon?
Is it mostly
it's both.
software?
It's a hardware device and the
Yeah.
software subscriptions to go, and you can customize. I mean, you could buy one of these boxes and have it for the file server, and just buy different modules. Sonic Ball is another one that used to be a pretty good firewall. Everybody kind of used Sonic Ball, and they sort of dabbled in the UTM thing, but they never really told anybody, you had to buy the extra module. So we walk into a lot of places and they think they have one and go, well, you have the device, but you haven't bought the subscription. So it kind of goes hand in hand. You got to kind of do both. Jason just mentioned Meraki. We use Meraki access points a lot for wireless because they do a good job, and they're getting into adding a lot of that kind of cloud-based features into those. So it's a never-ending.
Their own UTM devices, routers that they sell now that have some UTM features, but
Just on your call, the case managers that work that, they're actually FBI agents.
Yeah, they're former FBI, Secret Service, there's some insurance people. They're all very high ranking. Yeah, I could go in for a whole presentation on Kroll itself. They're amazing. That's what, and Kroll came to Legal Shield 8 or 9 years ago, saying we know that when people have identity theft issues, they also need attorneys, and we'd like to work together with them. The first year, Legal Shield didn't see it. Nah, we don't think. Then they went, yeah, I think you're right. And we've been working together ever since.
I'll share a personal experience again with my own family years ago. I'm trying to remember how old my youngest daughter was at the time. Pretty young, I think 9 or 10. And we have a computer and it's set up where, you know, she's on Disney or whatever. And a little pop-up thing for a dating service popped up out of nowhere on a Disney website. And she clicked on it and straight to porn.
Oh,
And so my wife wants my head. How can you let this happen, right? And I'm like, I don't know how this could happen. So, I mean, that's when I started looking at it. There's got to be something better out there. So I tried all the Net Nanny and a lot of the different products, and nothing really seemed to do a good job. So I went out and invested the money in the software and stuff, and I thought, this is kind of crazy and overkill, but you know what? If it can keep my kids safe, you know, and I mean, I literally haven't had a virus. I haven't, you know, deal with pop-ups. I mean, it really does an awesome job at this stuff. Nothing's perfect, but I try to get every one of my clients, and that's why I said in the flyer, in my opinion, it's the most important piece of IT equipment anybody can have, bar none. I don't care what the price is. So,
have you all heard also the latest about your smartphones, taking pictures, putting them on Facebook? They showed this woman, they took a little picture of her daughter, so cute, and they were able to show her, the experts there were able to show her where her daughter goes to school, where she plays, just 2 pictures that have been taken because the GPS information is embedded in those photos. So all these pictures of kids online, you can follow where these kids, it's just...
It's a scary world. I wanted to ask you guys, because I don't know, maybe a year ago now, there was a thing coming out about how people were getting these little cameras on these ATM machines. So when you put your card in, it would take a picture of the, and then they would record. Yeah. Have you ever experienced that issue around town?
We haven't had ENA, knocking on wood there, but we, you know, it's definitely been a threat. It's been out there for years. We check them.
Yeah.
But they're pretty slick. You know, they make it look like they're built in.
Well, that's what I mean. You sit there and you go, who sat down and thought that one up? That's ingenious. I mean, no, really. The guy should be shot, but I mean, it's, you know, somebody.
For the government. Well, when I worked at Atlanta at the chicken plant, we had a lot of immigrants coming in, and they would have a social security card. And I knew it was there. $50 from the black market. $200. They would be $200. Oh, the less now. Yeah, and but then what I did though was that, you know, I had to but I couldn't. There was any place to turn them into either.
Well, it's just where we've come. Just even I think back in the last 10 years. I mean, I used to have a retail store in town and, you know, sell computers and fix them or whatever. And I had a young kid come in that wanted a job, and you know, I wasn't hiring at the time, and said, "Give me your resume or whatever." He started getting really belligerent because I wasn't going to hire him. He's like, "Well, don't you know who I am?" Blah blah blah. Let me see. Your resume says you're, you know, you're a smart aleck with a 17-year-old kid. Well, he did a denial of service attack on one of my competitors' advanced computers and brought down their network for a week or whatever. So he started bragging to me that I should hire him because he's so smart that he was able to do this. And I kindly picked him up by the back of his neck and carried him out, gave him the boot out my door, and said, "Please don't ever come back here. You're a criminal. And the only job you're ever going to get is working for the government behind bars." But the point is, that's what we used to worry about. And I used to think, well, most people, anybody that's going to hack into something, they're going to go after the big guys. Most of us really don't have to worry about it. And that's just not the case anymore. It's completely flip-flopped. And, you know, people are out there finding any little niche, any way they can, you know, further their own, you know,
into
it's a sad
retirement home.
state of society, but it's what we have to deal with. So.
The older population. My mother, I told someone before you guys got here, my mother actually went into her junk mail this couple of years ago, and she said, "I was so sick of Viagra ads and bigger breasts that I wrote back to every one of them and told them to leave me alone."
Oh. Yeah.
She said, "I must have had 20 of them." I said, "Mom, I'm already got 200. And it was like, you know, it was that. But there, that's what older people think. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
And they're very trusting.
You said that there were, so you recommend UTMs for personal use, for home use?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's different ones out there, and I'm a big believer in, you know, you get what you pay for. So there's cheaper ones, there's free ones, there's OpenDNS used to do some of these services for free, now they're kind of charging for them. So I mean, there's stuff out there that you can do. Anything's better than nothing.
I use OpenDNS.
Yeah.
It's fantastic because it gets updated regularly, and you know, it knows what the malware sites are. It knows, you know, blocks all the porn sites and things like that. And you have some exceptions, you can type them in.
So do you know what they're charging now?
It's
for,
$10
right?
a year.
$10 a year? I mean, that's free as far as I'm concerned. $10 a year for something is better than.
Yeah, but it's, what I like about it is it's maintained constantly. You know, it's, you know, something that's always getting updated is best in my
I'm going to pass out, this is the flyer for our next session. If you're interested, we're going to be talking about the cloud. So I'll just pass a few of these around if you would, and, you know, don't notice that I had the wrong date on there. I had to put up the label over the month. That was the last minute catch on my part, but I'll just pass the whole thing around. You guys can scan them out if you'd like. Again, what we're trying to do here, we're going to try to do these monthly. We're picking different topics, just trying to get some education out there. Please feel free to, you know, tell people, go to the chamber website, and we'll post them as we come up with the new ones each month. Invite anybody that wants to come in here and have free lunch. We're working with all the local restaurants. I'm going around giving them each the opportunity to provide us lunch. So hopefully we get a little, you know, taste of what Fort Huron has to offer in the way of restaurants. So if you know anybody that owns a restaurant that'd like to participate, help us spread the word. But we do appreciate you coming. Appreciate your time today, and please feel free to give us any feedback. Again, we're all learning how to do these presentations, and it's not something we're comfortable with. But we're here learning too. Don, his face isn't even red anymore, so I mean, he's calmed down now. So he did a good job. He did a good job. Anyway, thanks for coming, you guys. Appreciate it.
Information on the identity theft.
So you guys have a new app, right?
Yes.
You're doing, and I downloaded it, but do I have to like sign up or something?